Hello learners, welcome to this session on Indian Legislature. In this session, I will be discussing about the Indian Legislature, especially I will concentrate on the Union Legislature, that is the Parliament of India, then its structure, powers and functions. So before going to the legislature, we have to know, we generally categorize broadly the two categories of the government, that is the presidential form of government and parliamentary form of government. So what is presidential form of the government is, this will be decided based on the relations between the executive and legislature. If the executive is part and parcel of the legislature, if the executive comes from the legislature, and if the executive depends upon the legislature for its tenure, for its continuation in the office, such kind of government is considered as a parliamentary form of government. So on the other hand, when the executive is not part and parcel of the legislature, at the same time executive is not depending upon its tenure for its tenure or continuation in the office on the legislature, that is broadly considered as a presidential form of government, where the executive will be directly elected by the people. For example, the President of America will be directly elected by the people. Then he will be directly responsible to the people. So this is the broad category. So India, based on the Westminster model, actually we have decided and adopted this parliamentary form of government. So the Union Legislature, otherwise we call it as a parliament, this parliament is the legislative wing. So here the parliament plays a very, very crucial role in the administration, at the same time legislative process and of this country and the governance of this country. Parliament of India consists of President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So basically we have the President of India is, though he is not a member of the parliament, actually he will be summoning the house, at the same time addressing the house, at the same time any bill passed by both the houses of the parliament, it will go to the President of India. Once the President of India gives his assent, then only it will become an act. So in these circumstances, we have followed just like British Parliament, where the Crown, the House of Commons, at the same time House of Lords, the same way we have here the President of India, at the same time the Lok Sabha, which is considered as the House of People, and House of Council of States, which is considered as the Rajya Sabha. So this consists actually the Parliament, Union Parliament. So we have adapted this from the British Westminster model. When we look at the composition of these houses, actually Rajya Sabha's maximum strength is 250 members. So total 250 members will be there in the Rajya Sabha. So these members will be elected by the state legislative assemblies in a kind of an indirect manner by means of single transferable vote system. So these 238 members will be representing different states. The number also differs from state to state based on their proportionate to their population. At the same time, union territories also, Delhi and Pondicherry union territories also, they will be having their representatives in this Rajya Sabha, otherwise known as upper house. Then apart from that, there will be 12 members will be nominated by the President of India. So this nomination of the President of India, these 12 members are from the different walks of the life, arts, legislature, literature, then social service, those who have done a wonderful job, those who have done so much of contribution to the social service and contribution to the society. If we ask them to come through this legislature process, electoral process, it is very difficult. But their services are very much required, their knowledge is very much required, their contribution is very much required in the process of the lawmaking. So for that purpose, we have accommodated this process actually. So the people who are contributed enormously to the social life in terms of many fields like literature, arts or social service, such kind of people, 12 members will be nominated by President of India to the Rajya Sabha. So these people also will be actively participating, actively contributing and giving their expertise in the lawmaking process. That was the conception of the appointment of these nominated members. So when we look at this Lok Sabha, we have the maximum of 550 members. Earlier, when the constitution came into force, actually we had this 552 members were there, and the nomination of the two Anglo-Indian members, those who from the Lok Sabha, it was actually discontinued in the year 2020, and that has been abolished by 104th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now at present actually we have 543 members from the different states. Entire country has been actually divided into the constituencies. So from the constituencies, the people directly will be electing their representatives. So such kind of members will be there. So currently 543 members are there. So these people will be elected through the universal adult franchise and the things. So they will be also electing those who immediately will get the simple majority. They will be elected to the Lok Sabha. So that way actually Lok Sabha members are much more than the Rajya Sabha, and they will be deciding many of the legislative process. They have the upper hand when it comes to the legislative process when you compare with the Rajya Sabha. When we look at powers and functions of this parliament, basically this parliamentary form of government, it has enormous functions, enormous activities. At the same time, lawmaking process is one of the major things. So let us discuss about the legislative functions. So when we look at the legislative functions, it enacts the laws, subjects which are enumerated, which are incorporated in the union list, at the same time the concurrent list. As we have a federal system in the constitution, actually 7th schedule of the Indian constitution divides this list of subjects into 3 categories. One is that union list, where the union parliament has exclusive powers to make the laws. These are 100 subjects are there, like civil aviation, currency, then defense, the subjects which have the national importance, which are incorporated under this union list. So the union parliament has the exclusive powers to make the subjects, make the legislations on these subjects incorporated in the union list. These subjects are at present 100 in number. At the same time, we have the state list. State legislature will be making the laws. Apart from that, we have the concurrent list. The concurrent list is that both the state legislature, at the same time the union parliament also can make the laws. So when it comes, if there is a contradiction between this union law and the state law, so the union law only will be prevailing. So that way, actually the Parliament of India has the overriding powers on the state legislature in terms of the subjects related to the concurrent list. So the subjects which are incorporated in the concurrent list, at the same time subjects incorporated in the state list, the union parliament will be exercising its power. So it has enormous powers. Major subjects are incorporated in the union list. At the same time, concurrent list also, union parliament has a very power. Apart from that, there are so many other ways also union parliament can make the legislation. That is, Article 249 is there. If the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution, then it can make subject on the subjects of the state list. Apart from that, when the 2 or more states request the union legislature to make a law on particularly in the interest of the nation, then the union parliament will be making the laws. Apart from that, actually, when there is a proclamation of national emergency, the union parliament will be making the laws. Apart from that, when there is a president's rule in a particular state, also union parliament can make the laws. So that way, the union parliament has enormous powers and functions in terms of the legislation. It will be acting as a enormous powerhouse which will be making the laws for the day-to-day affairs. At the same time, so many policies and programs which will be scrutinized and discussed and debated in both the houses of the parliament, then it will be becoming the acts. So apart from that, when we look at the executive powers of this parliament, we can say that this union parliament will be controlling the executive. Executive, as I discussed in the very beginning itself, that executive, which is nothing but a prime minister and council of ministers in India. So this prime minister and council of ministers are part and parcel of the legislature, that is the Lok Sabha, or otherwise some of the members may be from the Rajya Sabha. Basically, they are the members of the union legislature or parliament, and they are accountable to the parliament. So all the parliament will be exercising the control in many ways. One is that it's no confidence motion. So as long as the Lok Sabha has the confidence, then only the executive will be in the office. When the executive is not able to command the majority members, at the same time losing the majority members' confidence, then they will not be in the office. So like that, actually what is happening here is that the executive is directly depending upon its tenure on legislature. That way Lok Sabha will be directly controlling the executive in terms of its continuation in office, in continuation of in the continuing duties in its office. So that is one of the important things. Apart from that, executive will be scrutinizing the many ways. It will be questioning the things through so many measures. When the legislation process is there, they will be questioning the things. Question and answer will be there. Question hour will be there. 0 hour will be there. Apart from that, there are different motions, cut motion. Through this all motions, actually the Parliament of India will be controlling the executive in its day-to-day affairs. So if they want to make such a law, then all these things will be controlled, scrutinized by them and questioned them. So that way they have the direct control over the executive. This is one of the major important function of the Union Legislature. So apart from that, the Parliament of India has a many financial powers. Basically, annual financial statement or otherwise known as budget will be directly scrutinized by the Parliament. Both the houses of the Parliament, it will be scrutinized, though the Rajya Sabha has limited powers in terms of the money bills, but they have power. So Lok Sabha, basically here all the finance bills first initiated in the Lok Sabha, then it will go to the Rajya Sabha. So after both the houses approval, then it will go into the President of India for assent. So in this process, no taxation, no expenditure can be done without the approval of the legislature. So that way actually entire the money, expenditure, everything will be scrutinized and controlled, and it has the direct control over this finances of this country. So that way it will be exercising its powers. At the same time, it will be monitoring the functioning of the financial health of this country also by so many financial committees like Committee on Expenditure, Committee on Public Assurances. There are so many parliamentary committees also actually will be dealing with the things like Public Accounts Committee, which will be directly exercising the control over how this money has been spent, what are the exactly the manner which it is approved has been spent or not, will be directly scrutinized by this committee called Public Accounts Committee. So that way the Parliament of India has enormous control over the finances of this country. It will be controlling the things by approval of the budget, at the same time approval of the many motions. Then if the Parliament actually passing a cut motion, then it will be considered as a no confidence motion also. So that a manner actually it has that enormous control. Then apart from that, Parliament actually playing some kind of role as a electoral roles in the sense that it will be electing the President of India, the Vice President of India. At the same time, this Parliament of India will be having some judicial powers also. Judicial powers, though we have a integrated judiciary, will be having the judicial powers also. These judicial powers are nothing but the Parliament can impeach the President, even remove the Vice President through motions, resolution of the proper procedures and following the procedures. Then at the same time, it can remove the judges also. The certain procedure is prescribed through the procedures. We can consider these powers as categorize these powers as a judicial powers. So at the same time, we have another important power which will be exercised by the Parliament of India is that constituent power. So we have to understand here what is constituent power. So we have a parliamentary democracy, at the same time constitutional democracy, where there is a distinction between the ordinary law and constitutional law. So ordinary laws are nothing but the day-to-day affairs. Actually, we may be having some laws related to day-to-day affairs, functioning of the state government. These are considered to be as a ordinary laws. At the same time, we have a constitutional law that by the way of the constitution, which is a supreme law of land. So that can be also amended by the Parliament of India. Basically, majority of the provisions of Constitution of India can be amended by the Parliament, both the houses of the Parliament. In some extent, where it has been the tampering or amending the constitutional provisions which related to the federal functions or the judiciary, this kind of things, it will be exercising its constituent power along with the state legislature. So here, some of the provisions of the Constitution can be simply amended by the Parliament with simple majority. At the same time, with special majority, many provisions of the Constitution can be amended by the Parliament. But here one thing is that there is an inherent restriction imposed by the Supreme Court of India. Parliament of India can amend each and every part of the Indian Constitution, but without altering or changing the basic features or basic structure of the Indian Constitution, which is imposed by the judiciary in the Kesavananda Bharati case. So otherwise, Parliament, each and every part of the Indian Constitution, any part of the Indian Constitution can be amended or changed or repealed in some extent without changing or altering the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. These are the basic powers and functions of the Parliament, the Union Legislature. So here we have to understand these procedures also, how this will be happening, the things. Generally, this Parliament will be having at least there will be 2 sessions must be there in a year. That is the constitutional mandate. But in general, actually, there will be 3 sessions in the normal circumstances. There will be 3 sessions. That is, one is that budget session, another one is that monsoon session, and another one is the winter session. So there will be a minimum 2 sessions will be there under must be conducted. That is under Article 85 of the Indian Constitution. Then 1/10 of the members is considered as the quorum. Suppose there are members, actually if the less than 110 members are present in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, then there will be a quorum bell will be rung. Then when the quorum is completed, then they can start the business of the house. Then apart from that, both the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha has the presiding officers. Lok Sabha will be presided by the speaker. So the speaker is the presiding officer in Lok Sabha, that is the lower house. So he will be elected among themselves, the members of the Lok Sabha. Then at the same time, there will be a deputy speaker also elected by among the members. So when the speaker is not available, then the deputy speaker will be presiding the house and the process will be going on the things. So when both the speaker and deputy speaker is not available, there will be a panel of speakers will be elected by the house. So this panel of speakers will be there. So one among the panel speaker, the senior most among the panel speaker will be presiding the house. Same way Rajya Sabha also will be having the chairman. This Rajya Sabha chairman is nothing but a Vice President of India, is the ex officio chairman and is the chairman of the other things. Vice President of India will be always presiding the house, Rajya Sabha. In his absence, then the deputy chairperson will be elected among the members of the Rajya Sabha. Then the same way like in Lok Sabha, there will be a panel will be elected among the Rajya Sabha members. Then they will be in absence of both the chairman and deputy chairman, one among them will be presiding the house. At the same time, there is one more term we have to understand here, whip. This whip will be each party will be having the whips, and they will be maintaining the decorum of the house at the same time, discipline of the house and attendance of the house. That is the main role of the whips. This is the way actually the Parliament of India will be functioning. So the Parliament of India, all the laws which will be impacting the social life will be thoroughly scrutinized, thoroughly discussed and debated. It has also their other mechanisms, like there will be different committees. Through their committees, actually they will be scrutinizing, they will be going through the process, they will be taking the help from the different people, at the same time calling the information from different sections, at the same time different organizations, different governmental agencies. Then they will scrutinize entire this process. Then they will be coming back to the legislature. Then it is further discussed and debated. Finally, it will be approved by both the houses. Then after that, actually it will be going to the President of India for his consent. So then once the President of India gives his assent to the bills which are passed by both houses of Parliament, then those bills will be becoming an act. So it will be coming to the operation. So I will conclude this session here.